with you. Flip a doujin in the bed, I'm reading manga till it's two. Tell me that you love us if I go, I'm knowing that it's true. Cause you acting all moe and vanilla in my view. So this is for them waifus. Straight 2D flex in my life, fool. If you fuck with him, tell you my dude. Let the beat right out, keep it nice and smooth, yo.
Hey everyone, welcome to the weeabooze, the anime podcast where we get drunk and talk about anime. I'm Kyle.
I'm Sam.
I'm Hunter.
It's all three of us tonight.
Heyo.
Let's start with what we're drinking.
Little Witch Academia. We're not drinking Little Witch Academia.
No.
Maiden in the Shade. Wait, Made in the Shade, but it's spelled like maiden, like fair maiden, so it's kind of like a pun.
Nice.
Ninkasi Brewing Company Summer IPA. It is pretty good. It's just kind of a standard IPA though, nothing special.
I like it a lot.
And I'm drinking, I think I'm saying this right, Dasani.
Exotic.
Yeah, it's very clear for a beer.
Uh-huh.
Sam, that's water.
Okay.
So Hunter, Sam, during our episode on the different types of anime fans, do you remember what you called yourself because you watch anime in waves?
Surfer.
Well,
how could I forget?
Well, it's summer, so let's grab that metaphorical surfboard because we're going to the beach.
Beach episode?
Shit.
It's crazy
This is the first time you've written an intro like that.
I tried
like
really
that.
hard. It's crazy to think about not only the sheer amount of beach episodes that have taken place throughout the history of anime, but the fact that so many of them are identical in nature. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if there were more anime with beach episodes than without. I like beach episodes because they're fun and flirty and they add so much to the plot. Not always, but...
No, they add to the right plot.
Well, yes. Beach episodes may not provide substantial story-altering content, but I do believe beach episodes have the potential to be regarded as purposeful, or at least more than just filler, by contributing to the plot through less conventional means.
Yeah.
The
They
first of
contribute
which...
to my plot.
Shut up.
What?
I don't know what that means.
The first of which is that they provide a breather. Having a breather, a moment of respite either between story arcs or before a dramatic event, is a distinct and arguably truly important aspect of anime, not often experienced in singular mediums like books or movies, where every minute or every page is utilized to directly impact the plot. Few other mediums, if any, ritualistically halt its own plot for the sake of transitioning between conflicts. Now, I understand it's more than that. There are other motives behind the implementation of beach episodes. We'll get into those. But first, I want to focus on the idea of a show essentially taking a break from itself, telling the audience, you've been through enough, let's relax this week. So, do you think this mental break is completely unnecessary depending on how you watch anime? If you watch several series as they air, aren't you already inherently attaining that mental break? On the other hand, if you're marathoning an anime, is the beach episode getting in your way of finishing the series, or do you still enjoy that mental break?
I'm okay with it, which is odd because I know, I'm notorious for not liking fan service and thinking it's all bullshit, and I do think it's bullshit.
But it's the right kind of bullshit.
Well, there's a lot of reasons why there are beach episodes or even filler in general. And there are certain times where a studio might be like, hey, we need to just make something to appease the masses for the next, 2 weeks. What do? Tits. Let's show some boobs. And everyone's okay with it. Mm-hmm. I'm fine waiting for that. I'm fine skipping it. Right?
Well,
so
I don't think you should skip it.
I typically don't watch filler. Just in general,
I'm not
I usually
saying
skip filler.
No, I know a lot of beach episodes are typically filler, but most of them probably aren't.
Really?
I would think so.
Well, I think against your mental break idea that's unnecessary. We can have physical breaks by just not watching the show, and you can take it into yourself.
Okay.
I don't think there's any reason for I understand pacing. You need to have some sort of pacing, but to have your pacing completely shift for the sake of providing a break for your viewers is
I'm fine with a
unnecessary.
beach OVA, right? Fuck it. Give them a beach movie.
Sure. So, I mean, to a certain extent, I sort of agree with you guys. I sort of dislike the idea of a beach episode as a break from the plot, but I can understand how people find relief in that aspect of a beach episode. People often get tired of a series.
That's a drink.
Oh, okay. People often
That
get...
one's a horse.
Shut up. People often get tired of a series partway through.
So tired.
And I think a beach episode is a great way of giving the audience a way of mindlessly enjoying the show. As the characters go on a vacation, so does the viewer, so to speak. Personally, I don't need that break for the reason I mentioned earlier. I watch a variety of anime as they air, so no single series is particularly taxing on my mind. However, I feel like the beach episode should be looked forward to rather than treated purely as a relief.
Oh, I look forward to it.
Well, anime, being an episodic medium, presents the opportunity to diverge from key issues or the main story so that it can reinforce characterization. Reinforcing characterization, as well as titties, is the reason I love beach episodes. The strengthening and reinforcement of characterization. The beach episode introduces a moment for the cast of characters to act outside the plot. We get to witness the lives of characters in their truest form, how they act without conflict in an entirely new and purely social environment. How do they relax? What do they talk about? What makes them a relatable human being? And most importantly, what type of swimsuit do they wear? Like, this is legitimately a big deal. The swimsuit reveal is actually a very revealing scene in more than one
And
way.
there's always one with the little frilly ones, and that tells you a lot about that girl.
It totally does. It tells us a lot more than you think. Now, I like to break it up into 3 parts. The girl's personality, the swimsuit, and the girl's reaction to being seen. So, imagine a shy character who chooses to wear a bikini. If she acts even more shy when being seen, but has the courage to, step out on the beach in it, like, what does that tell us about her? I would say it's that she's trying hard to be seen as sexy, but still can't help the fact that she's easily embarrassed. A tomboy wearing a one piece may actually mean that she's self-conscious about wearing something girly if she blushes while having a nonchalant attitude. I love seeing the pairing of personalities with swimsuit styles. There are so many different combinations, we couldn't possibly go over all of them. So,
But even pairing them like incorrectly is always entertaining. Like, you have you would have someone that you expect to be in like a one piece.
this is a drink, probably.
This is probably a drink. Dips on the blue eyes one.
While I see your point, yes, it can have many uses. Like, sure, you can learn so much about the characters. At the end of the day, I feel like it ends up just being kind of a cop-out. Like, who's going to wear the smallest bikini? The one with the biggest tits. Who's going to wear the shirt bathing
That's
suit?
not always
That's
true.
what I was
Smallest
getting at,
tits.
Sam, is that sometimes they don't match the character personality.
Yes, exactly.
Like, you'll see a character that you're like, all right, this is the one-piece swimsuit girl, and then she'll be in like a super revealing something, and you, as well as all the rest of the characters, are surprised by that, and that
Exactly.
creates some sort of...
So, removing the characters from the plot allows for characterization opportunities that would never come up in the confines of a typical story. And relating back to how a beach episode allows us to take a breather, swimsuits are also a good visual breather. They give the creator a perfectly fine excuse for the characters to wear new outfits in a world where they would wear the same thing every single day. So, let's go into this a little bit more. What do you think about using the beach episodes to reinforce characterization?
I'm all for characterization. Character development's always been my favorite thing. So for that use, I like it.
But you do or you don't entirely agree with my reasoning.
I think your reasoning is too idealistic. Even
Okay.
though in a perfect world, sure, that's what it could be used for. I'd love that. I think at the end of the day, it's not what it's used for.
Sure.
I think most of them are just about titties. But the ones that are not, I can see them having some sort of story element to it. But really, I think that the primary reason for a beach episode is definitely fan service and pandering. It is not to do any sort of characterization.
And to follow up on that, I have a question for you because I don't know this answer. You said that, the beach episode isn't always filler. I've only seen a small handful of beach episodes in the anime I've watched. Typically, I end up skipping them regardless. How many beach or beach? Yeah, beach. How many beach chapters are there in actual manga where like you have a story and they're like, hey, let's take a couple chapters and just put them in the beach?
I mean, as I've said before, I'm not as familiar with manga to the extent I am with anime. Beach episodes are a convenient excuse for filler, typically, but we typically see those in series that would never have a beach episode. I'm saying beach episodes are frequently seen in slice of life anime where, you know,
Okay.
because it's their day-to-day life, they have an excuse to go to the beach as like during their vacation or something like that.
Persona has a beach episode.
Pretty much. I mean, there's also the whole like relatable aspect. Like if you live in Japan, you go to the beach, I would assume, you know, at least
Once a summer.
once a summer. Like Japan is an island. It's an easy excuse. I mean, it's convenient. Why not utilize it?
Another thing, getting more into what you're originally using beach episodes for, as like, if you're thinking about it not being pandering, really you can go beyond the beach into just a getaway for any reason. If people like, the one that comes to mind right now is Kisniver, is that there's a set of episodes in which they go off to like, it almost reminds me of like a summer camp.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you see a lot of social interactions outside of, I mean, it's a very social show, but you see them in a different context and really how they act in this new environment. And it really tells you a lot about the characters.
Exactly.
Are you talking about when they first leave like the room and they're starting to adjust?
No.
When they leave the city and they go like literally into the wilderness, like a camp.
Surprised I don't remember that at all.
It happened.
Okay.
It's a pretty big part.
But
regardless, what I mean is that beyond just going to the beach, there's a lot more like places that you can have this characterization, basically seeing characters that you know and you really like them, seeing them in either different outfits, because it's no surprise that anime characters wear the same thing all the time, and seeing them in a different environment that doesn't have any conflict associated with it.
Right.
So
Sometimes there was a Bleach Beach episode
Well-
where like the whatever watermelons, I don't know what attacked, some shit attacked.
That's actually probably the differentiating factor between filler beach episodes and actual beach episodes, because like if it's a filler episode, like for a shonen, they're gonna fight something on the
Yeah.
beach. I mean, I think
crabs.
I didn't bring my sword.
exactly. I mean, but
We should read an anime.
whenever beach episodes are not used for filler, it's actually typically more used for romantic elements, like trying to push a certain couple pairing or something like that. But my third reason of justifying beach episodes is what we have been alluding to, which is fan service. So finally, although some of you may not know this, beach episodes are sometimes done purely for the sake of fan service.
No.
So
Say it ain't so.
I know. So it's crazy. It's almost like creators know we like anime titties. It's exciting to see characters we've come to know wearing
Nothing.
nothing,
Hopefully.
being placed in sexual situations, wearing as little clothing as possible. Like that's all there is to that final aspect, is the fan service. And we've talked about fan service thoroughly. So swimsuits are pretty sweet.
I mean, it's basically like, this is what I don't understand, is that this happens in real life too, but girls get like embarrassed in bra and panties, but not in a swimsuit, even though they're like basically the same thing.
They're totally different.
Totally different.
I guess I'm weird in that aspect. I think that boxers and like swim trunks are basically the same kind of like revealing factor.
I'm a boxer brief kind of guy.
Yeah, boxer briefs. But what I mean is that like underwear and swimsuits are at least okay. I understand the designs are different and they're different material, but they reveal the exact same amount.
Context, a society, like what we view as acceptable. Swimsuits are apparently acceptable because they're in a social environment. You can only wear them on the beach.
Not necessarily.
Well, you probably should.
Okay, true.
So, final thoughts on beach episodes, swimsuits. Do you guys have any questions? Do you want to expand it further than, what I
Do you have an
mentioned?
example of like a beach episode where you were like, this was necessary?
Not off the top of my head.
When you see the hottest girl in a swimsuit, you're like, this was absolutely necessary.
That is one. It's typically seen in romance. There's always the test of courage, which brings characters closer together because they're scared, and in those really scary moments, they tend to like have an excuse to cling on to one another and develop their bond even further. It's very it's seen a lot in romance in particular.
Plus, usually there's like a young love aspect where it's like holding hands is seen as like a big step, right?
Totally.
So
it's very
I don't know. I like seeing the young love stuff. It's like it's nostalgic.
Let's move on to questions, but first, let's briefly say next week there will be no episode because I am going to Anime Expo, and Hunter, you are going out of town, correct?
Yes.
If you're going to Anime Expo, I'll be around. Say hi. We can meet up, have a drink.
Just jump on his back and yell, Kyle.
Yeah.
Kyle! He loves it.
I mean, I'll understand if you do that.
What's he gonna do to you?
Probably
anyway?
nothing. So
I hope someone jumps on the wrong person and yells Kyle.
So no episode next week, and I think the 50th episode, it's gonna be a very big and intricate topic. Like as of now, I think I have triple the amount of content written for our 50th episode already, and I'm not even done yet. However, I think that's going to be delayed a bit because Hunter just informed me that he's actually going to be gone for 2 weeks. So no episode next week. The following week, I'll probably do kind of like a short episode,
the AX
a little bit about my time at the convention, as well as brief talk about the new anime season that's starting, as well as talk about some series, like the loose ends of things that have ended. So it's going to be kind of just a loose ends episode. And then finally, a big 50th episode. So
we will have Sam and Jeremy attending.
Hopefully. This week's question comes from Darwin. Darwin asks, what anime do you think should be classics that currently are not?
Okay, so first and foremost, I think I need your just short 10-second version of what a classic is.
Timeless.
I was going to use the word timeless, but I'll go first and kind of, set the stage. So I think there are plenty of underrated anime, but I don't know if any of them are deserving of being a classic. Like Aku no Hana is good, but I feel like it will eventually become a cult classic. So House of Five Leaves is good, although it's been a long time since I've seen it, and I don't quite remember why I liked it as much as I do. But Hyuge Mono is probably the most underrated anime, and that's probably my answer. I think that should be a classic. It's possibly like the most underrated anime. There are also anime like Trigun and Outlaw Star that are well known, but are sort of overshadowed by similar,
I would
slightly
consider
better.
Trigun a classic.
Well, I do too, and I think a lot of people do, but I just think like Cowboy Bebop is a far more classic anime than Trigun and Outlaw Star, and it overshadowed both of them, which makes them feel classic to a lesser degree.
I think that's just because the themes were more like tight. It was like a tight-knit theme for Cowboy Bebop, whereas Trigun's a little bit more all over.
We're kind of talking about semantics here. You say classic anime that are currently not labeled as classic, and if that's the case, I feel like that just means underrated. But go ahead, what do you think?
So obviously, like I already consider it a modern classic, and have no doubt in my mind it will be considered a future classic. Steins Gate, favorite of all time, but I mean, it's not exactly underrated. Like it was second on my anime list for like.
Yeah, it's gonna be
forever. Like it's gonna become a classic.
I feel like that's gonna be one of those cult classics, though, where like you either love it or you just don't like it
Steins
at all.
Gate?
Yeah.
Nah.
You mean either you got to episode 12 or you didn't?
Well, yeah, I think a lot of people might drop it. A lot of people don't like smart anime.
Well, another... Oh, that's a drink.
Yeah.
But another interesting classic that I kind of want to bring up is one that you and I watched together, Kyle, and it is Katana Gatari.
Mm-hmm.
So after watching it, seeing it through all the way to the end, I still replay the last episode over and over in my mind. Like, there really hasn't been an anime that I've seen. I mean, there are some, but this just really, really got to the point of like having a climactic final episode, something
Definitely.
that really, really brings everything together. Like I have not seen a better climax in a long time. Like that was just phenomenal. So I think that should be regarded as a classic. I don't think it's super popular, but I know it is well known.
Right.
I thought it was huge in Japan.
Are you thinking of
Bakemonogatari?
Yes.
different anime?
That's also a drink.
So many drinks. I sort of disagree. I don't think it's good enough to be considered a classic. I like it a lot. But it does have a fair amount of flaws that we probably didn't talk about too in depth on our...
Oh, it
Katana.
definitely has flaws, like pacing. But
Sure, maybe.
it kind of, like, because of the horrid pacing, it made the final episode so dramatic.
Yeah.
In a
I
way,
mean,
to me.
Yeah, I agree with that. So.
And I think that it also gets its classicness because I think that all classics have some sort of very special, unique element to them. And Katanagatari's is oddly, by being a story about swords and being about fighting and being about killing and having so much dialogue and having such little fighting.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a really unique element of the show, and that's kind of what pushes it more into classic territory.
Okay. I mean, I like your argument. I still don't know if I would agree with ever bringing it into the realm of classics, but Sam, do you have any? No? Okay, then let's move on to what we've been watching. We'll start with the biggest one, which is Attack on Titan ended. So let's get into that.
Dude, they should have kissed.
So,
They should
oh
have.
my god, I know.
So close.
Dude, she's perfect. Fucking get on that, Aaron. Jesus Christ.
He doesn't care. He just wants to kill things.
A lot. Like, really bad.
Yeah.
It was so dope. I didn't expect it in any way, shape, or form.
I said that to Kyle right when I walked in. And he was like, duh, because it didn't make any sense.
What? Right after I watched it, I texted Kyle and I was like, yo! And he was like, it was stupid, basically.
Okay, that's not what I said. I said it was sort of a good example of Deus Ex Machina where Aaron was just like, new power, save the day,
duh,
here
it's
it
a
comes,
shonen.
punching titans. Like,
But I think it also revealed a lot, like why he was so important and why they were trying to capture him so much.
they didn't know that though. No one knew
What?
that he had that
Everyone
power.
knew that.
Yes, they did.
No one knew he had
What's-
the power to control titans.
Yes,
What?
okay,
Bert
what's-
Holt and Reiner did.
Yeah.
No, Bert Holt said, like, of all the people, for someone to have this power, I can't believe it's Aaron.
No, for all the people that have this power, I didn't want it to be you because he knew someone had the power.
Yeah,
That's not how... Well, yeah,
My
but they,
interpretation
like,
was
they
that
knew
they
someone,
knew.
they didn't know it was Aaron.
No,
Yeah, but
my
they knew about the
interpretation was
power.
they knew it was Aaron, and that's why they had to rescue him.
Yes.
That's why it was so imperative.
That's why they wanted to get him so bad.
So they wanted to get him before he could use the power.
Exactly,
Because he
now
didn't.
he can control
Because he
the Titans.
always could. He didn't know he could. Yeah.
Who's that
2-on-1.
Who's that damn monkey Titan though?
Yeah.
Who is it?
Oh, it's his
the-
dad.
You think so?
Totally. His dad was, like, standing on the Monkey Titan, and I think his dad is the Monkey Titan. I
Wait,
think they're
his
one and the same.
dad? The dude looks like Hohenheim from
Yeah, he's his
FMA?
dad. It's a dad thing. Dads are always the villain in anime. He's totally the dad.
Oh, that makes sense.
His dad knows
He's like
everything
the
about the
smart
basement.
master
He probably
creator.
created Titans. He's probably the mastermind of everything. Dads are villains in anime. And, like, Attack on Titan is not going to deviate from the common trend of evil dads.
I just want to watch more people fly around
I
in
know you
3D
do.
and slice people.
I
Like
know.
that is
It
that
was
is
dope.
dude, that random scene with Krista that like she flips in the air like 4 times with a
Oh
bunch
my
of
god,
lens
she's like, when I'm
flares.
with you, I'm not afraid, and she just goes off. Yeah, that was dope.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet. But just in all, I really liked this episode. Like, Attack on Titan is kind of taking a back seat to Boku no Hero this season, except for this episode. Like this was awesome. I
Yeah,
I haven't
for
felt
a
this
little
way about an
while-
episode in a long time.
For a little while, I was underwhelmed with Attack on Titan, but I think the season finale really gave it the push it needed.
Dude, we got to see some Eren and Mikasa, like
was
a little bit of
great.
action. We got some
You guys.
some
We saw
random
next to-
bullshit
yeah,
that like
next to
that saves the
nothing.
day.
Yeah, finally, like a season where Armin just doesn't matter.
He's
I
like
loved
noodle
that.
arming with his sword, like
Armin
yeah,
is
get away.
Yeah,
Well, I'm glad you guys liked it.
Oh, what is your opinion, Kyle?
No, I mean, it was Attack on Titan. I mean, I don't have deep thought on something like Attack on
Damn,
Titan.
it's like good enough for your thoughts.
No, I mean, that's not. That's a topic in and of itself. Let's move on to Boku no Hero.
I want a button. I want a Kyle button that says that's a topic in and of itself. it'll be my cop out button.
Shut up. Talk about Boku no Hero.
Okay, Boku no Hero was cool. It was definitely like a great episode.
Yeah.
And exactly what I had
What happened?
kind of predicted last week happened. I was like, I hope that Todoroki doesn't use his fire against Bakugo, and that Midoriya is the only one that can pull it out of him.
Mm-hmm.
And that exactly fucking happened.
Yeah.
And I love that, like, I don't know. I really like that you have this internal struggle with this character. Like, Todoroki's a lot deeper than I had originally
I really like his
expected him to be.
character, and I like the.
I just totally root for him. Like, he's just so cool, and he has great backstory.
I love the fact that he kind of went back and said, "Before I have to settle things basically with my mom before,
Yeah.
before I fight for anyone else, I have to settle my own
I
shit."
really liked that.
Me too.
It was a good
And
resolution.
I really, really liked, so when he goes in and says, like, Mom, and she turns around, it's like it's the same frame as when she turns around to throw the boiling water on his face,
Yeah.
but her eyes are calm and collected as opposed to like fucking crazy.
Yeah, and then on a slightly different note, Lita's brother, no, like what
no.
the fuck? Oh, who is that fuck?
I
with
thought
the
he
swords?
died, but I know Kyle. I was like, dude, someone died on the show, and he's like, I don't know, it's anime. You know because you read the manga. You little ruiner of
Well, I think
things.
he's gonna be at least out of commission for a long time or something, or maybe
Oh yeah,
like, you lost
he got
half
a
of your
little
corpse.
bit fucked up.
A little bit fucked up, dude.
Yeah,
He
by
got-
that I mean he got totally fucked up.
he got rocked, and now the bad people are gonna steal him, and no one knows what's his power. I don't know, but he's got swords and shit. What if he doesn't have a quirk? I think that'd be cool if he was quirkless and just a badass who didn't like heroes.
I don't know. I don't think that would work out because like if
I
somebody
bet-
was quirkless against All Might, they wouldn't last like a half a second.
They might if All Might can only go All Might for half a second.
Okay, but Midoriya would like somebody that literally doesn't have a quirk. I don't care how like athletic they are.
Dude, this is
quirks
anime.
are pretty fucking OP, dude.
Yeah, but this is anime, dude. He might be quirkless and just be real good with a blade. Shink, shink.
It's gonna get real intense. You guys don't even know.
So I
What's his
I
power?
His power is stabbing people, apparently. That's all I've seen. I really like that he has the anime trope of like really like torn up, ruffly clothing that happens to stay in some cool pose literally all the time.
Always.
Yeah. Real quick, Recreators had this big emotional episode with lots of exposition on the creator of the mysterious girl, the creator of, that's the person who's been teleporting the other heroes back into the real world. That's been pretty interesting. We still have a ways to go on Recreators. But a few things have ended. Renai Bokun ended, Love Tyrant.
How was it?
It was
Please.
perfectly fine. It was very cute. It was very simple and straightforward, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm
Did
glad
the
I
redheaded
finished
girl
it.
stab anyone in this episode?
She stabbed so many people.
That's great. That is exactly what I want to hear.
It was very funny. I liked it a lot.
I'm glad you liked it.
Psychono ended. Psychono season 2. I didn't love the overall message in the end, though. The girls technically left the main character's Dojin circle, but were
Dojin circle?
a circle is like a group that creates their own work, I guess. A circle is like a club. So they left it, but they were still they were obsessing over him even afterwards, which makes me feel like no progress was really made. There was a kiss, which was a big deal. But the kiss seemed to counteract the assumed true relationship that was sort of enforced throughout the series. But maybe that's just me. I really liked Kato, and she had some good moments in this final episode, but I don't know if she was utilized, and I don't know if that was intentional. So Sugemono ended, and I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. It was very like 90s generic in a good way, and I'd actually love to see a season 2. I saw a really interesting post about how if you liked it, you should read the manga, which is something I hear a lot, and the manga looks really good. So I may check it out, although I just don't have time for manga.
But it's also manga. So.
Yeah, that's true. Natsume ended. Natsume is always good. It's sad to see it go. It just seemed so quick. It was here and then it's gone. Frame Arms Girls ended, but who cares? Machiavellianism was really stupid. I kind of regret watching that. And there are a handful of shows approaching their climax, which I'll wait to talk about until they actually end. So If you have any questions or suggestions for episode topics, please do not hesitate to send as many as you would like. You can send them to myself at Secret Otaku on Tumblr, email us at theweeabooze@gmail.com, or just leave a comment wherever you're listening. Join us on the Twitch most Fridays when we record live, and join us on our Discord so you can talk to us whenever you'd like. Also, consider supporting us on Patreon, or leave an iTunes review if you like what we do. And more than anything, please share the podcast, because word of mouth is pretty much the only way we get new listeners. We want to thank Hentai Dude for our intro music and Kuwagata for our outro. And like always, get
Drunk.
And
anime. See you guys in a few weeks. It's going to be a little bit. So, see ya.
Adios.
You can catch me smoking a sour off the coast of Okinawa. Feeling so high like I'm Ho-Oh in that tower. Take a flight on some shit. Got my dogs riding beside me, blazing hot. That's kamikaze, sacred fire. Don't be mad, I'm lit. Catch me smoking a sour off the coast of Okinawa. Feeling so high like I'm Ho-Oh in that tower. Take a flight on some shit. Got my dogs riding beside me, blazing hot. That's kamikaze, sacred fire. Don't be mad, I'm lit.